Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Hard West with me, Bring It On. Before we do anything else, I need to go buy some healing items. Equip these. Alright, let's go to the water tower. The water tower was the linchpin of Cannibal Farm. You could have spilled the water to damage the masked man's property, or you could have poisoned the water to weaken the cannibals. Let's try the poison. Who sells the poison? Well, I guess it's possible nobody does. We can try the... Oh, the elixir trader. That makes sense. They probably sell poison. Yeah, you asked Baker about the Cannibal Farm. The shopkeeper revealed the man-eaters sometimes came to him looking for meat tenderizers and exotic herbs. If you wanted, you could send a letter of introduction, telling them you were one of them, and we could approach them without raising the alarm. Every favor has a price, though. He'd only do it if you helped him test his new potion. He agreed to take a sip of his vile concoction. Nauseating wave... What do we get? Poison. Alright. Nauseating wave rushed through your body. Your face felt hot, then your entire body cramped up, and you fell to the ground in agony. When it subsided, he apologized profusely, insisting you keep the rest as a make good. He sent the letter immediately. Cool, I don't have to buy it. That saves me a little bit of hassle. And money. So what does poison do? -2 max HP. We're gonna get that fixed. It's not gonna let me get it fixed. Okay, well shoot. I returned to the water tower supplying Cannibal Farm. And we will pour the poison into the water. You dropped the poison into the water, and found a good spot to observe the results. You saw a couple of buckets being carried back to Cannibal Farm. A little while later you heard screaming. You noticed black smoke rising from the farm. Were they burning bodies or roasting them? Well, I guess we'll find out. The farm looked innocent enough, but you knew better than to trust appearances. The cannibals had heavy sentries at the entrances. You hadn't seen a trace of Murray yet. Chances are they had him locked away somewhere. You entered the farm. The elixir trader had kept his promise. The enemy wouldn't expect trouble. Well, let's hope so. The cannibals had Old Man Murray. Whether he lived or not, they would die.
Time was of the essence. Murray was bleeding and would be served for dinner by sundown. You could either kill the cannibals before he died, or free him and patch him up enough to survive the fight. Also, a part of you was curious what the fuss about human flesh was anyway.
Alright, well let's go try the meat, I think. We can always do that after we rescue Murray, I think, as well. We don't have to do it right away. We do have 10 turns. I could... Circle back around, I think. That might just be the way to do it. Then I'll send our buddy here to go rescue Murray while my main character goes and eats the meat. That might fix our poison. Instead to regain our strength. Come on. Just go ahead and restart. I'm gonna risk it.
Time was of the essence. Murray was bleeding and would be served for dinner by sundown. You could either kill the cannibals before he died, or free him and patch him up enough to survive the fight. Also, a part of you was curious what the fuss about human flesh was anyway.
We will shortly find out, won't we?
Human flesh tasted a bit like buffalo jerky. Not half bad. Strangely, you felt empowered by this casually heinous act. But no sense letting good meat go to waste.
I might not move him. Why didn't he open the door?
The woodshed smelled of garlic and rosemary. Seasoned gunslinger just got a whole new meaning.
Let's get him on cover where it's safe, and we will take cover and get ready for war. Actually, that's really bad cover for him. Oh, nope. Okay, they get to start. Well, that's not how I wanted things to go. No chance of hitting that guy. There's some inside this building. I should probably go check that out. Well, it was worth a shot. Then we're just gonna keep him safe in there. He only has 3 health. Maybe one shot's gonna kill him. Reload that, and it should be enough to kill him, right? If we hit. Perfect. Alright, Murray, you stay right there. I thought there was a guy over this way. I'm not gonna risk just running out here like this. Yeah, there he is. Alright, it's a little risky, but I think we've got it. I better cover and heal. I thought I got 2 shots with that. Is that not the... Yeah, the chain rifle. No, the revolver rifle gets 2 shots. I should probably get the guy that has 5 health. Guys, 2 health aren't nearly as much of a threat. Not really a fan of any of that. I might move him back. Let's get him over here. And then with him, can he see? Let's see. Not great odds, but I'm going to take it anyway. Perfect. There's enemy all over here, too. Hang in there, Murray. Oh, thank goodness. I was concerned about that. I was hoping that since I didn't see her, she wouldn't push forward right there. But because she did, well, it cost her her life. Don't really want to rush in here with this guy, but we might not have a choice. A nail bomb would be perfect. But I don't have one, so I'll have to make do. That's exactly what I wanted him to do. So let's take care of him. Let's see, 49. That has terrible aim. It's only 59. At least he landed his shot. Alright, end our turn. Come back here and reload. Alright, and goodbye.
Your swiftness would be the tail of the country. The cannibals bit the dust, and Murray's knowledge of the masked man was yours.
You'd have your revenge on the masked man, but first, you need to know the depths of your anger. After the fight, you noticed a bunch of farmhands hightailing it into the fields. Horseback could have easily caught up with them. You chased them down and shot everyone. We need to kill 100 people for the reward. As you dashed forward, you soon had your victims within range, though they scattered, hid, and crawled, and could escape your cleansing fury. When the dust settled, you climbed the tall windmill to scout the region. You could see a bustling and lively bar in the distance, as well as a ghost town nearby. Just north of the farm, you spied a man dangling from a tree. Grateful for his rescue, Murray told you everything he knew about the masked man. Intimidation and destruction served you well. As he became more fearsome, the people you interrogated seemed to know more and more. You're moving up the chain. Still, the location of the masked man's hideout remained a secret. You heard the story of a demon that once walked the earth with a gang. He amassed countless riches, then retired, hoarding his wealth in his hideout. They said that he was exceptionally dangerous. If you managed to kill him, all his loot would be yours. Alright, so I think Murray's part of the team now. He only has 3 health, which is not great. He has a ton of wounds. And hear your enemies +2 heat. And we'll do this instead. So +8 sight, -1 damage, +2 movement. Yeah, we need to get him fixed up if we can. It's all healing. Go Old Man Murray for $50. How much health does he have now? 8. That's really good. We need to find him a gun as well. Might just do the elephant rifle. Alright, that works for me. What is his aim? 55, that's not bad. Could be worse. Let's go grab some healing herbs from the Indian camp. Alright, there we go. Alright, so what do we have to do? So Demon's Hideout, that is a side objective. Kramer's Inn. Hope. I don't know where the man is hanging. It must be this, right? Let's go check it out. A Kramer's dilapidated joint played host to a rowdy bunch of ugly mug drunkards. It was your lucky day. Sitting at the bar is one of the masked man's thugs that killed you. You stabbed the thug in the back. You stabbed a thug in the back. As ladies screamed and men rose to their feet, you dragged him outside by his collar. After a little more persuasion, he spilled the beans on the masked man's locations and operations. The thug gave you directions to the masked man's homestead and cattle pasture. He said the masked man also owned an excavation site, an old sawmill, but it was in the dark about the location of the masked man himself. Begging you to spare his life, he told you of a gold transport waiting to be picked up from the bank in Asperden. He warned you that the masked man had a deal with some demons to protect it. They got a telegraph message. The church bell tolled 7 times. They'd swoop in like demons. When he finished, he promised you wouldn't kill him. Then you slit his throat. Finally, you knew the masked man's location. His oil field.
Finally, you heard where the masked man was hiding. Clearly, it was a trap.
We have a lot to do.
Clearly, you didn't care.
You bought liquor. Bulletproof vest is really good. Gives you +5 defense and +2 max HP. We'll probably buy that. Old Man Murray looked like he was drinking to forget. While you were checking the inn out. The inn out. That's funny. He just sat in the back, downing glass after glass of the worst poison they had, muttering something about someone named Roberta. You helped him out. I guess. I like him having that aim. Let's do that. Make him our tank. Alright, you got the cheapest drink they had. I just needed a little courage. Drops of whiskey dripped through the holes in your face. The liquor filled your mouth with fire, and your heart with courage. We got bravado. Oh, you got the best and strongest drink they had, with like a little liquid courage. Same description as earlier, and then you ordered the suspicious smelling stew. $45. But the stew tasted funny and smelled funnier. You couldn't recognize the meat. No one could tell you what it was. But it was that or seek vengeance on an empty stomach. Alright, so bravado plus 5 aim, recklessness plus 10 aim and plus 1 damage, and well fed plus 1 HP per turn, plus 20 luck per turn, plus 20 aim, and plus 20 defense. I wonder if that lasts forever, only for the next fight. Alright, let's go to pastures. Cowboys tended herds across the fertile lands. The animals were owned by the masked man, or one of his associates. The farmhands were just cheap labor. Their lives would still count toward your tally. Decided to kill the horses and hang the cowboys. You rounded up the cowboys and tied them down. Then you killed the horses and hanged the farmhands on nearby trees. When you were finished, the landscape was peaceful again, just bathed in blood. The masked man would hear about what you had done. As the bounty on your head increased, people in the area wanted less and less to do with you. The shop owners raised their prices 10%, hoping you'd take your business elsewhere. 10%. I guess I don't really have any money to spare. Alright, let's do the homestead. Masked Man's homestead. It looked like the masked man was away. There were a few clues, but you could still loot his house. If you focused on the valuables, you knew the servants would get a chance to run. Focus on the servants. Someone would grab whatever they could and run off with it. You burn down the house with everything and everyone inside. You circled the house, barring the exits, and smashing every oil lamp you found. Undetected, you lit a cigarette, enjoying the tickle of smoke through the holes in your face. When it dwindled, you flicked it, a tiny coal arcing through pitch. A moment later, the house was bright with merry flames. The screams of those being burned alive filled the night like a symphony, occasionally interrupted by suicidal gunshots. You left the homestead behind. The reward on your head attracted bounty hunters from far-off places. Let them. It was their funeral. Still, anytime you went anywhere now, it seemed there were more enemies to contend with.
You began to make quite a name for yourself.
Yes, we did. Oh. Alright, the excavation site. Southwest Mining Company excavation site. Prospectors in the area had teamed up with the masked man to form the Southwest Mining Company. You could collapse just the entrance for an immediate short-term effect, or you could blow it up, top to bottom, and put it out of commission forever. That would take longer, and there'd be far greater risk of injury. Yeah, blow up the entire mine. You're injured in the explosion, but it was worth it. The mine was completely destroyed. The masked man would be furious when he heard about this. The old sawmill. The old sawmill was no longer in use. Its tall buildings fallen into wobbly disrepair. There'd be lumberjack tools inside. They didn't know if you should press your luck. Yeah, the precarious building contained a saw. Minus 50 luck. You were successful in retrieving the tools, but it felt like your luck was running out. Alright, so we do have a few cards here. 9 of clubs, because it's Cannibal. Eat human flesh to gain strength and restore health, plus 1 HP. The 9 of hearts gives you artery shot. If hit, target enemy will suffer greatly after walking 5 steps. There's a couple HP. I think that's worthwhile. Maybe not. I know, we'll see. The King of Diamonds, so we got Beast Hearing, sense nearby enemies, plus 4 sight. I'll give that to him. Then Ace of Clubs. We got the Jinx passive. Your shots don't replenish enemy luck, plus nearby enemies lose luck all the time. You get plus 10 luck bonus. I think I'm going to give that to him instead. Oh, hold on. What's the bonus for these two? No, any pairs plus 4 movement, I think. So never mind. This might not be optimal. I might play with this off camera. I'd like to get this fixed. It's $50 to get injuries fixed. Alright, so I think that's all the side stuff. Now there's Hope. Let's go to Hope. Then we'll do the combat missions next time. The ghost town of Hope. Rumor had it the whole town had died of plague in a single week. It's a wreck. With the sickness in the air and the bodies on the ground, no one dared to loot the place. Yeah, the best thing about being undead, it gives you an iron stomach. You looted the husk of a town. You found some loot, but there was something in the air. Your breath became heavier and slower. Suddenly, an old hag approached, squawking like a preacher. She said the city was a grave, but not all citizens were buried in it. 7 men were buried in the forest. 6 decent folk, 1 thief buried with his loot. She said if you dug up the thief's grave, you'd be rich beyond measure. Touch the wrong grave, though, you'd be cursed. Bad luck would haunt you, sickness would crush your bones, and spirits would follow you forever. She vanished, leaving you alone with the memorial marker. Only part of the memorial was legible. All you could make out was Stephen Teague, hard-working farmer; Romney Tate, a fair judge; Tony Sullivan, magnificent cook; Donovan Byrnes? Yeah, Byrnes, a brave miner; and Sam Courtney, finest blacksmith. I'm pretty sure the abandoned grave is where I need to go. We'll go to all of them. Here lies Sam Courtney, a skilled unreadable. He had been found stabbed to death in his house. No indication of struggle. The investigation discovered that he'd been testing his new stab-proof jacket. We'll check all these first. This grave was poor as could be, but the meadow flowers around it meant he'd been loved. You weren't sure why. You had a feeling this was the grave of a farmer. Pinkerton grave or Mucky grave. This was a burial site, but not what you'd call a proper grave. The grimy grave. The grave was dirty and foul, filled with broken bottles and other debris. Headstone read, Donovan Byrnes. The lonely grave. This grave bore just a simple cross, not appear well tended. A name was carved into it. Baron Brygo. Mossy grave. The grave was covered in fresh moss, a pristine green carpet flecked with morning dew. The only readable part of the epitaph was a fine merchant. And the cracked grave. Someone had tried to dig this grave up, but left in a hurry. A note was nailed on the cross. Seeking this man's lawful heir, contact me, Romney Tate. Let's do this one. You dug it up. You dug up the bones of an enormous man. He must have been the blacksmith. With him, you found a vest made of some kind of leather you hadn't seen before. We got a gushing wound. We also got the skin vest. So you can't dig up all the graves. I did not realize that. I thought you had to choose one. Oh, because it wasn't the thief's grave. But this is one of the stars. This is the one you need for, this is one of the special items for this scenario. Plus 10 defense and plus 3 heat. Alright, I think we call the episode here. And the next one we'll dig up the rest of these graves. And then we will do these 2 side missions. And then hunt down the masked man himself. And what I'll do is I'll dig up all the graves, since we're probably getting an injury for each one. We have enough money to get fixed up at the Indian camp. And it doesn't matter how many injuries you have, you only have to pay the flat fee of $50. So we'll probably get injured a lot here, and then we'll go get fixed up and be ready to rock and roll. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.